Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, First Community Financial Bank, the community bank where you come first. Joining me now on Spotlight is Jannie's Hope. Dr. George McCardle is the founder, and Meg Phillips is a board member. So welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Jannie's Hope.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about why you founded that, Dr. McCardle.
Sure. Jannie's Hope was founded a little while after my wife passed away from non-smoking lung cancer. Terrible experience for anyone. She was a very happy, healthy person, far healthier than I was, but felled by this awful disease. And so my daughters and I thought that rather than having it be a terrible and bad experience, we might turn it into something positive and raise funds for non-smoking lung cancer research so that maybe one day they can find a cure or a treatment for this terrible disease.
Wonderful tribute to
Thank
your
you.
wife,
Yes.
and I'm sure very meaningful to your children.
Very so.
Yeah. Meg, how did you get involved with Jannie's Hope?
Well, George and Jannie were personal friends of mine, and like all their acquaintances and friends, when we heard what had happened and saw how quickly and how terrible this disease took Jannie, we just all wanted to do something and do something positive in her memory. So we sat down and we spoke with George, and I told him, whatever you decide to do, I'm in, just let me know. And we had a meeting.
She's regretted that from the moment she said that. So
We had a meeting, and we decided to open the foundation, get it started up, and off we went.
Okay. Now, talk a little bit about the stigma with non-smoking lung cancer, because that's a problem, right?
it is a huge problem. Anytime anyone thinks of lung cancer, they automatically think of smoking. And there is some justification to that because the majority of people who contract lung cancer are smokers. But that's 60% of those. 40% are non-smokers. And because of that, raising funds for lung cancer is a very challenging thing. Most people tend to look at lung cancer as something that you've caused yourself. But again, with 40% of the people who contract lung cancer being non-smokers, it's a terrible disadvantage for them. So much so that raising funds for lung cancer is difficult, and the disparity between the monies raised for other cancer research and lung cancer research is dramatic.
Okay.
So.
Talk a little bit, if you would, because you mentioned some numbers before to me about the proportion of folks with different kinds of cancers and how many more people are impacted by lung cancer.
Sure. If we take lung cancer by itself, more people die from lung cancer than breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer together.
Yeah.
So lump those three cancers together, and fewer people die from that than lung cancer. And again, 40% of all lung cancers are non-smokers.
And that's hitting a wide variety of age groups too, yes?
Absolutely, and gender.
Okay.
There's very little gender bias in terms of lung cancer, and the age groups is wide-ranging, especially when you consider non-smoking.
Okay. Now you're doing an event, you raise a lot of money. Talk a little bit, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about this specific event that you're doing very soon, but talk a little bit about where the money goes that you raise for your foundation.
Well, we have sponsored several research programs, several at the University of Chicago where my wife was treated, most recently at Duke University Medical Center. And we've just begun another study called the Flooded Lung Study. We probably don't have time to go into all of that in Germany. And they're getting some fantastic results where we'll really shorten the treatment program for people with lung cancer.
And the money is going to all of those?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, those are actually different grants we've given out over the years.
Okay, so that's the process. So you're raising the money and then you're granting to different projects that are working?
Correct.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Right.
Now you have a very exciting event coming up here shortly, so tell us a little bit about that.
We do. Sunday, July 19th, it's the White Sox game. And I want to mention, this is our third Sox game, and the Sox have been so supportive and so helpful. It's wonderful. We have tripled our attendance since we first started, but we're having a tailgate starting at 11 a.m. in the parking lot A. Ron Kittle will be there. He'll be signing autographs, taking pictures. We have raffles. Todd Shaw from Jersey Mike's has been extremely supportive. He's donating all the sandwiches, and we hope to make it a fun time for the kids. And then we'll go into the game at about 1 o'clock.
Okay, and typically how many people come out for that, Meg?
Last year we had over 200, and this year will be over 300, and hopefully more.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And then all that money funnels back into the grant program.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's great. So now how would people get information about tickets?
Please go to our website,
Okay.
jannieshope.org, and you can buy your tickets right online. It also gives my information if you need to contact me.
Okay.
And we hope to see you all there.
That's great. That's wonderful. Now talk a little bit, you've got this event coming up. What else is Jannie's Hope involved in as far as events? Because I think you mentioned before that you've got something else kind of coming up. You're not going to give us details, but...
I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be a huge event, hopefully in the city next year.
Okay.
And we just keep raising those dollars in hopes that we find an answer or a cure.
Okay. Are there other ways that our listeners and our viewers can get involved with you guys? What else can we do to help you?
Spread the word.
Okay.
Visit the website, donate. We're constantly updating, putting new information up for people. Just lend us your support.
And get that word out. Because I think you
Right.
also, you've mentioned before about the disparity too between the amount of research dollars spent on the different cancers.
Yes, and I want to be clear that we're certainly not wishing anyone to not donate to any of the other foundations. Cancer is a terrible disease no matter what form it takes, but there is a clear distinction between those funds raised for some of the cancer foundations versus lung cancer. And a dramatic example of that is with breast cancer, which for every individual that contracts breast cancer, there's $28,000 raised each year. For every individual that comes up with lung cancer, there's only $1,800 in research funds that are raised annually. So that's a huge difference and certainly limits the work that can be done in lung cancer, but we're trying to turn that around.
Well, that's great. So one of the ways we thank you for that work that you're doing and for the awareness and for sharing. So to find out more about Jannie's Hope and how you can support their upcoming event, please visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more Spotlight.